What up, rap leaders? Welcome back to my channel. It's rush hour in Georgetown. This is Vlissengen Road, and we're at the western end of Kitty. This is Station Street Kitty. And I thought I would give you a tour, a walk on Station Street, right at Station Street. Thought I'd give you a walk on Station Street Kitty this morning. It's at the southern end. There's a street, one more street, across that bridge, to the south of this Station Street Kitty. I just want to show you what changed. Right, what has changed here in Kitty over the last few decades, and what is still the same. So for example, on Station Street Kitty, this is Station Street Kitty, this wooden house is probably one of the originals, and this one still has some of the colonial architecture of original homes in Kitty. Right, this is Station Street Kitty, so some of these houses are still in their original format. Right, this is Station Street Kitty, and some of these homes are still in their original form. They were constructed 60 years ago, maybe even longer, when this neighborhood Kitty was the center of Georgetown. So what has happened in Station Street? A lot more residences have become commercial establishments. So this is, for example, Sita's Bar. Right, so there's a bar and restaurant on the ground floor, and above there's living quarters, residences. And the same is true for a lot of these original homes. Right, remember I said in a previous video that a lot of these homes started out as wooden structures, but then the renovation in the 80s saw conversion to concrete. So some of these homes became concrete structures in the 1980s, and in the 1990s and beyond, closer to 2000 and now, these houses grew to be taller. Right, so they became not only concrete structures but 3-story buildings, because they were taking advantage of the height. Right, the tall buildings allowed you to enclose a greater amount of space. But here on Station Street Kitty, some of these residences became also commercial business places. So there are two things going on here. One is that in what was exclusively residential neighborhood, renovation to concrete homes and conversion from what was originally just wooden residences to what are now some commercial and residential homes on the same premises. This, for example, is an older renovation, but as you can see, taller than the original home that was built there on Station Street Kitty. This seems to me a much more recent renovation on top of a older renovation, right? Because you can see back in the early 2000s, a lot of these homes became started taking on the architecture of North America, meaning Canada, Ontario, Canada, and the American South, where a lot of people return after living abroad for a while. So this is the result of people remigrating back to Guyana after living abroad, and the impact or the effect of it on Station Street and Kitty. These homes, for example, part residences, in part commercial property. Part of the changing in neighborhood is out of necessity, because some of it is because you needed to do business, and part of it is because being in the city provides you with the access to population density, which means commerce. You know, makes it easier for doing business, because if your residence, your place of business is located in the center of a population center, then your business is likely to succeed or have a lot more customers. This is a property for sale. The Bill's property for sale, 48 to 50 Station Street, Kitty. So I mean, I can imagine that this will probably not be on the market for very long, because of course property is very much in demand in Georgetown. You know, everybody who's moving back to the city wants property to build their own homes. And in the center of the city, a place like Station Street and Kitty, you know, you're in the middle of the city of Georgetown, and the demand for property is great. Ultra Prince. It's another modification. So we're coming to the eastern end of Kitty at this point, which is narrower than the other parts of Kitty north of this location, because the boundary of Kitty at this point is the train line, right? Coming off of Lamaha. So this is the eastern end of Kitty, and it's the eastern end of Station Street, Kitty, as we head to the train line. This is recent renovation. It was turned into a boutique. And on the other side, here is a salon and spa, currently being renovated and extended. There's a shop on the ground floor too, and a pharmacy. And this is where the train line crosses through Kitty. So that's looking back. It's another street. Now this is the train line. So the train line actually marks the eastern boundary, quite the eastern boundary of Kitty. Station Street continues, but on the other side of this train line is Campbellville. So that's the train line looking north, and that's looking back at Kitty. So this is Kitty in 2023, and we just came through Station Street, Kitty, and this is a train line looking south. So that's Station Street, Kitty, where we just came from. And on the other side of the train line, this is Campbellville. Station Street continues into Campbellville. Take a look at it in a sec. Just wanted to show you what the train line separation between Kitty and Campbellville looks like. At this point now, I've actually done a previous video of the train line. So you've seen before this section, that's Station Street, Kitty, which we just came out of. Looking back at it from the train line, that's a cow, whole stage cow. In the center of the city, we have livestock rearing, right? So Georgetown is still what we considered, this part of Georgetown considered rural, because of cattle and livestock that people still rear in this part of the city, which is not very far removed from the center, right? So What we're looking at is Kitty. This is Kitty, right? We're looking at Kitty. And this is the train line, which we've seen before. But on the other side of the train line, that's Campbellville. And the end of Kitty, that's the southern end of Kitty, here is Lamaha Street. Now this Lamaha Street is different from the Lamaha Street, which is of course another part of the eastern boundary of Kitty. So Kitty is bounded by Lamaha Street on the south and Lamaha Street on the east, and the train line also, which runs northeast, which we're walking along. So that's Kitty. And looking back towards where we just came off of, which is Station Street. There's one other small street after Station Street, which we'll probably see in a future video, but here is what has happened on the train line. This is the southern boundary of Kitty since the last time we were in this neck of the woods. Now they've completed this bridge, but there's still piles of sand. What we're looking across at right now, that on the other side of Lamaha Street, that's Newtown. Right, that's Newtown. And on this side is Kitty. Now some people used to refer to Newtown as Newtown Kitty, so I'm not certain if that part on south of the south of this train line is still Kitty. But what's happened since the last time you've been here, they've completed this bridge, right? So there was a bridge being constructed here. The last time we were here, I think I showed that the bridge had just been completed. So this is the canal that runs underneath the bridge, and the bridge has been completed. What's happened since the last time we were here too, they've put now waste bins. These are trash cans, or the holder of trash can receptacles on this part of the train line. Morning. So they put trash cans and they put benches. So now you can sit on these benches on alternate sides of this path. And this is the attempt to deal with trash in Guyana. They started to place these trash cans along the path, right, built on this train line. This is the old train line. And so this is the southern boundary of Kitty. Basically Lamaha Street, that's Kitty. We're looking at all that bush is the backside of Kitty. This is the train line, and on the other side that's Lamaha Street. Right, they've put new trash cans on the train line. So that's what's happening here, guys. This is how Kitty has changed since the 1960s, 1950s and 60s, when it was in fact, you know, one of the major population centers for middle class Guyanese, right? Because it was close to the city, close to the center of the city, but also far enough away that you could live like you're in a country where you could have sheep and goat and cattle. And those of you who lived in Kitty before can tell me how it's different now. Right, so that's Kitty. How it's different now from the way it was back in the 1970s and the 1980s. Some people have left Kitty, lived abroad since the 1970s and the 1980s, and they can tell me how things have changed. Right, so this is the southern boundary of Kitty. So I've been going through these neighborhoods systematically, so that you could get an idea, sort of an accurate understanding for how things are changing and have changed during this period of rapid growth and expansion in the country, in Guyana, because, you know, rather than get into arguments about politics, I prefer to show you what's happening, so that, you know, a lot of what I say is grounded in observation from living here and not based on some political affiliation, which some people seem to be only able to reason, right? They can only see through the lens of the political party that they support. Now we're back on Vlissengen Road. This is Vlissengen Road, which is the western boundary of Kitty. We've looked through Wilford Avenue and saw the, and we've seen the schools, right? The street with the most schools. Session Street is the next street, right? We started out. I just wanted to show you this end of Kitty. This is the end of Kitty that is closest to Lamaha Street. So this is, I don't know what the name of this street is, but this is the last street before you get to Lamaha Street in Kitty. And it was bounded on the eastern side by the train line, and on the south side by Lamaha Street. And this is it. It's just a small cul-de-sac. It's the last part of Kitty, right? The last street in Kitty. And a lot of these homes have been renovated recently, right? So this is some recent renovations in the neighborhood of Kitty, right? It's the center of the city, in fact, so far, right? If you look at the way the city has evolved and expanded, basically gotten wider to greater Georgetown on all sides except the north. You know, it's to the east, Georgetown, as far as Turkine, would be considered Georgetown. You know, as far as Sophia, and in the south, as far as Houston. So there's no separation now. This Georgetown is just really greater and expanding, growing rapidly. Now, this week we're supposed to go down to see the housing developments further inland from the East Bank Public Road. We're probably going to do that this weekend or next week. But let me continue to show you how things are changing here in Kitty. So that's it, guys. This is the last two southernmost streets in Kitty. Station Street is where we started out, and here is the last street. It's a cul-de-sac, accessible from Vlissengen Road on rush hour. That is about 8 o'clock in the morning. If you want to see more content like this, click like and subscribe. In the comments below, tell me what you think about Kitty, this part of Kitty, as it changes rapidly in this new era of oil and gas in Guyana. Share this video with friends and family around the world. Let people know what's happening here in Georgetown, Guyana. Later! Back at Station Street. Station Street in Kitty.